Picture this. Your tap goes dry tonight. No warning. No alert on your phone. You twist the handle and nothing comes out. How long does your family hold out? Here is the brutal answer. Most American homes last less than 24 hours, not 3 days. Not the 72 hours FEMA tells you to prepare for. Less than 1 day. And here is what makes it worse. Plenty of those homes already own a prep kit. They have canned food. They have flashlights. They have a first aid box in the closet. They feel ready. They are not. Because they skip the one category that actually puts people in the ground first. Water and sanitation. That is the gap. That is what gets people sick. That is what gets people killed. Now picture something else. 3 miles down the road from a neighborhood where every house just lost water, an Amish family is drawing cold, clean water from the same cast iron hand pump they have used every single day for the past 40 years. No panic, no line, no dependence on a single piece of infrastructure that just failed everyone around them. That is not luck. That is a system, and the Amish have been running it for 300 years. In February of 2021, a winter storm hit Texas that most of the country was not built for. The grid collapsed. 4.3 million homes lost power. More than 12 million residents lost water service entirely. Nearly 700 water systems across the state issued boil water advisories. In some rural communities, those advisories lasted more than a month. At least 69 people died. $18 billion in damage. People wrapped in blankets, navigated grocery stores with flashlights. Families stood in rationing lines for hours in freezing temperatures just to fill a jug. One hospital had to evacuate patients because it lost water pressure to its heating system. The city of Austin told its residents to plan for days without water, not hours. Days. Amish communities in Pennsylvania, Ohio, and Indiana did not even notice. Not because they were lucky, because their water infrastructure has never once in 3 centuries depended on the electrical grid. Their wells run on hand pumps. Their cisterns fill by gravity. Their springhouses cool water and store food, using nothing but the constant temperature of the earth and the flow of a natural spring. The modern grid sold America convenience in exchange for total dependency. The Amish are the only large community in the country that never accepted that deal, and what they built instead costs less than $300 to replicate with modern materials. Today, I am walking through the complete Amish water and sanitation system, translating every piece of it into something any household, any apartment, any floor can set up before the next emergency arrives. Most items cost under $15. One item costs $5 and purifies 10,000 gallons of drinking water. That is enough for a family of 4 for over 8 years. I will get to that one, but keep it in your head as we go. Let us start where the Amish start. The water source itself. The Amish do not treat water access as a convenience. They treat it as architecture. When an Amish family buys land, the first question is not about the house. It is about the water. Is there a well on the property? Is there a spring? What is the depth to the water table? Everything else comes after that answer. The most common water system in conservative Amish communities is a deep well with a cast iron hand pump. These are not decorative garden ornaments. These are robust, heavy-duty pumps rated for wells over 100 feet deep, designed to be used multiple times a day by multiple people for decades without replacement. Some Amish families have pumped the same well for 3 generations. In northern Indiana, the most popular setup is a small Honda engine, driving a belt-connected water pump with an automatic pressure switch. When the water pressure in the house drops, the engine kicks on, fills the tank, and shuts off. The starter battery recharges through a small solar panel mounted on the barn roof. An Amish-run company called HM Electronic invented the automatic start controller that most of these systems use. No grid connection, no utility bill, no single point of failure. Other communities use gravity-fed cisterns. A storage tank sits at a higher elevation than the house. Rain or well water fills the tank. Gravity pushes water through pipes and into the home. No pump required, no electricity required, just physics. And then there are springhouses. A springhouse is a small structure built directly over a natural cold water spring. The water flows through the building at a constant temperature of around 55 degrees. That is cold enough to preserve dairy, meat, and produce without any form of refrigeration, but it also means the family has a permanent source of clean, cold water flowing through their property every hour of every day with zero maintenance and zero cost. Now, here is the part that matters for you. You probably do not have a well or a spring, but you almost certainly have something you have never thought about. Go find your water heater. Look at the base of the tank. There is a small brass drain valve. That valve is the access point to somewhere between 30 and 80 gallons of drinkable water that is already in your home, already paid for, and in most households, completely forgotten. A man named Gerald was 3 days into a water outage with his 2 granddaughters staying over. He had bottled water in the pantry, enough for maybe 2 days. He was rationing carefully and worrying about what came next. What he did not know until a neighbor stopped by was that his 50-gallon water heater had been full the entire time, sitting in the utility room 10 feet away. Here is how to access it correctly. Attach a garden hose to the bottom drain valve, then open the pressure relief valve at the top of the tank. This step matters. Without that top valve open, you create a partial vacuum that chokes the flow to almost nothing. Both valves, top for air in, bottom for water out. Clean water flows straight into your containers. No filtration required for a well-maintained tank. Under 5 minutes. Before you buy a single item on this list, you may already have a substantial clean water reserve you never knew was there. Now, build on top of that. Collapsible food-grade water containers made from low-density polyethylene. They flex under temperature stress instead of cracking, which is the same material principle used in military-issue collapsible canteens. 10 collapsed 5-gallon containers take up the space of a thick textbook. When a warning comes, fill them. 50 gallons of organized, transportable water out of something that lived in a drawer. Do not repurpose household containers for this. Milk proteins permanently soak into plastic and cannot be fully removed. Residual sugars in juice and soda bottles create a bacterial growth environment. Purpose-built food-grade containers only. If you want 100 gallons in one shot, a bathtub bladder sits inside your tub before you fill it. Sealed, protected, no contact with the porous tub surface. But the timing is everything. Municipal water pressure typically starts dropping within 2 to 4 hours of a major grid disruption. If you wait until things feel serious, it is usually too late. Deploy at the warning, not when things escalate. The Amish never wait for a crisis to prepare. Their systems are permanently installed and permanently operational. That is the mindset. Build the system before you need it. If any of this is landing for you, hit like and subscribe. It pushes this in front of people who actually need it. Drop a comment telling me which item you are missing from your own setup. Now back to it. The Amish have always had fire. That sounds like a strange thing to say, but it is the single most important fact about their water purification system, because boiling is the oldest, most reliable water purification method in existence. It kills bacteria, viruses, and protozoa with no chemicals and no filter cartridge, and the Amish never lost access to it because they never outsourced fire to an electric stove. Every Amish home has a wood-burning stove. Many have more than one. That means they always have the ability to bring water to a rolling boil, regardless of what is happening to the grid, the gas lines, or the supply chain. Fire is purification. Fire is cooking. Fire is warmth. Losing your ability to make fire in an emergency is a disaster. For the rest of us, that means stocking at least 2 independent ignition sources, waterproof, stormproof matches that will not turn to mush in a flood, a ferro rod that throws sparks even when completely soaked and lasts for thousands of strikes. A reliable lighter rounds it out. Store them in a sealed container or your waterproof document pouch. 1 is none, 2 is 1. And practice striking the ferro rod before you ever need it. It takes technique. The first time should not be in the dark with shaking hands. Now here is where modern chemistry gives you an advantage the Amish did not originally have. A personal water filter like the Sawyer Squeeze removes 99.9999% of bacteria and 99.999% of protozoa. That beats EPA standards for U.S. municipal tap water. It is rated for 100,000 gallons with no replacement cartridge. The U.S. military uses it in water-scarce environments. International humanitarian organizations deploy it in active disaster zones across more than 80 countries. The failure mode that turns a $35 filter into junk is simple: skipping the back flush. Every 10 uses, push clean water backward through the membrane with the included syringe. That clears trapped particles and restores full flow. Skip it, and the flow rate drops to near zero within weeks. Unscented liquid bleach at 6% sodium hypochlorite is your everyday chemical purification tool. 8 drops per gallon of clear water. 16 drops if the water looks cloudy. Wait 30 minutes before drinking. 1 gallon at that concentration treats roughly 4,000 gallons of drinking water. But bleach is a clock. It loses about 20% of its active chlorine every 12 months. A 3-year-old bottle is less than half as effective as a fresh one. A bottle in a hot garage degrades at roughly double the rate of one kept cool indoors. Write the purchase date on every bottle in permanent marker the day you bring it home. Replace it annually. No exceptions. Now, here is the item I told you to keep in your head. Pool Shock, a 1-pound bag of granular calcium hypochlorite at 68% concentration. Costs about $5 in the pool aisle of any hardware store. Here is the math. Dissolve 1 teaspoon of powder into 2 gallons of clean water. That makes a concentrated chlorine solution. Take 1 ounce of that concentrate and add it to 100 gallons of water you need to purify. 1 teaspoon equals 100 gallons purified. 1 pound holds roughly 100 teaspoons. That is 10,000 gallons of safe drinking water from a single $5 bag. A family of 4 using 3 gallons of drinking water a day burns through that supply in about 8 years. 8 years, $5. During the Texas storm, a clear split showed up at water distribution points. People who had Pool Shock at home had essentially unlimited clean water. People who did not stood in rationing lines for hours. Same neighborhood, same disaster. One purchase made months earlier was the whole difference. The storage rule you cannot break is dryness. Pool Shock is chemically aggressive. Keep it completely dry. Never store it near fuel, oils, or organic material. It reacts violently with ammonia-based products. Never combine them. Sealed, airtight container, cool and dry. Under those conditions, it stays effective for up to 10 years. The one gap neither filters nor standard chlorine treatment reliably closes is viruses. In any flood where sewage enters the water supply, viral contamination is the specific threat most likely to cause serious acute illness. Iodine purification tablets have been in U.S. Army survival kits since 1945. 150 tablet bottle treats 25 gallons. Works against viruses, bacteria, and protozoa in under 30 minutes. The Amish approach was never about one tool. It was about layers. Boiling handles everything if you have fire. Filtration handles bacteria and protozoa when you need speed. Chemical treatment handles long-term storage. Iodine closes the viral gap. No single point of failure. That design philosophy did not come from a prepper manual. It came from 3 centuries of living without a backup. Now we need to talk about what actually kills people in extended water emergencies, and it is not what most people think. The leading cause of illness and death in a prolonged water disruption is not dehydration. It is secondary bacterial infection from sanitation. Failure and contaminated hands. Post-disaster health research across dozens of major events keeps pointing at the same chain. You handle waste with no barrier, then you touch food, then a water container, then somebody's hand. That is how disease moves. The World Health Organization estimates that 1.4 million deaths per year globally are attributed to diseases spread through unsafe water, poor sanitation, and lack of hand hygiene. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention calls hand washing the single most important factor in the prevention of disease and the spread of infection. The Amish solved this with architecture, not with products, with physical separation. An Amish outhouse sits away from the house. Between the outhouse and the kitchen, there is a wash station, soap and water. You do not walk from waste to food without cleaning in between. That separation is not a suggestion in Amish communities. It is the physical layout of the property. The building forces the habit. Amish outhouses are relocated every few years. The old pit is capped with soil. Over decades, the concentrated waste naturally decomposes and fertilizes the ground. Many communities now use composting toilets that convert waste into agricultural compost, closing the nutrient loop entirely. For a modern household in an apartment or a suburban home, you cannot build an outhouse, but you can build the same system of separation with simple tools. When the water stops, take one container of stored water and manually flush your existing ceramic toilet once. That empties the bowl. Line the inside of the bowl with a heavy-duty contractor bag, 3 mil polyethylene, 42 gallons or bigger. That is the spec. A regular trash bag rips under 10 pounds of wet material. A contractor bag holds 40 and does not flinch. Add a 2-inch layer of compressed pine wood pellets inside the bag. Use the toilet exactly like normal, because you are literally using your actual toilet. Here is why. Pine pellets instead of clay, kitty litter. Every basic prep guide recommends clay. That advice is outdated. Clay absorbs moisture, but it does nothing about ammonia. The ammonia coming off urine reaches intolerable levels within hours in a closed room. Clay masks the smell slightly. It does nothing to the chemistry creating it. Pine pellets work completely differently. When a pellet absorbs liquid, the compressed fiber soaks it up and bursts into fine sawdust. As that happens, the natural terpene compounds in the pine chemically react with ammonia and neutralize it at the molecular level. The odor is not masked. It is destroyed at its source. This is the same principle behind the sawdust that piles up in every Amish carpentry workshop, a waste product from their daily work that becomes a sanitation tool at zero cost. In their system, nothing is wasted. Everything has a second job. A 40-pound bag costs $6 at any hardware store. One person burns through roughly 1.5 pounds a day. That single bag covers one person for over 25 days. When the bag fills, twist it shut, lift it out, and seal it inside a 5-gallon bucket with a gamma seal lid. That lid is the critical upgrade. Standard bucket lids need a mallet to close and a pry bar to open. A gamma seal lid is a 2-piece screw top, airtight, liquid tight, opens and closes by hand with no tools. Now here is the part nobody warns you about. Decomposing human waste in a sealed container releases hydrogen sulfide gas. Above 50 parts per million, the OSHA action threshold, that gas causes rapid physical impairment. In documented workplace incidents inside sealed sewage systems, trained professionals have been knocked unconscious. At higher concentrations in tight, unventilated spaces, it has killed people. In a home emergency, a sealed waste container in a warm apartment can hit dangerous levels in under a day. Heat is the accelerator. A summer emergency is flatly more dangerous than a winter one for exactly this reason. The rule is dead simple. Open sealed waste containers outdoors. Open air only, not in a bathroom, not in a closed garage. Wear an N95 respirator mask when you do it. For extra protection, get one with an activated carbon layer that grabs volatile compounds. Particle filtering alone misses. The Amish have always managed waste outdoors. Their outhouses are ventilated by design. The modern household has to deliberately create what the Amish have by default. Now, hygiene. The barrier between your family and the disease chain I described is your hands. Get nitrile gloves, not latex. Latex allergy affects between 8 and 17% of people under normal conditions. Nitrile has no cross-reactivity. It resists chemicals. It resists punctures. The technique that matters is the double glove, 2 pairs at once. Handle the waste container. Peel the outer glove off from the wrist inward. The dirty surface folds inside itself and never touches your skin. Drop it straight in the waste bag. Your inner glove is still clean. Take it off the same way. Never reuse gloves between tasks. A glove that touched waste and then went near food or water is a contamination pathway, even if you rinsed it. Disposable means disposable. BZK wipes, benzalkonium chloride, are the antimicrobial step after waste handling. These kill E. coli, staph, and salmonella on contact. They are not baby wipes. Baby wipes have zero antimicrobial power. Using one after waste handling and then touching a shared surface is the same as using nothing at all. Keep the BZK wipes at the toilet and nowhere else. That physical separation trains the habit automatically. Baby wipes are for daily body hygiene. One wipe upper body, one wipe lower body every day. That simple routine prevents the fungal infections that set in within 10 to 14 days without bathing. Buy fragrance-free only. Scented versions applied to adult skin daily cause contact dermatitis within a week. The Amish maintain strict separation between farm work and food preparation. Different wash stations, different routines. That separation is the system. Products are just the tools. The separation is the architecture. If this is helping, hit like and subscribe. Tell me in the comments which item surprised you. We are into the final stretch now. There is a fact about dehydration that sounds wrong until you understand the biology. Drinking plain water when you are badly dehydrated from diarrheal illness can make things worse. When your body loses fluid through vomiting or diarrhea, it does not only lose water, it loses sodium, potassium, and glucose in specific ratios. Replace just the water and you dilute your blood sodium. That triggers a condition called hyponatremia, confusion, nausea. In serious cases, seizures. You can be drinking water and still going downhill. Oral rehydration salts contain sodium, potassium, and glucose in the exact ratio set by the World Health Organization. 1 packet per liter of purified water. This formula has been the global standard for disaster medicine since the early 1970s. Health authorities call it one of the most cost-effective life-saving tools in the history of emergencies. Do not substitute sports drinks. They are built for athletic recovery, a totally different physical state. In acute illness, they are inadequate. In some cases, they make hyponatremia worse. The Amish equivalent is simple. Water with salt, honey, and lemon. The same principle, the same ratios, roughly. Traditional knowledge arriving at the same conclusion as modern medicine through 300 years of practical observation. 30 packets per person, 5-year shelf life. Almost no storage space. $9 for a box of 30. Now, information. Most people's emergency alert plan runs entirely through their smartphone. Smartphones need cell towers. Cell towers need power. Power is exactly what fails first. During the Texas storm, cell networks failed at scale within 18 hours of the grid going down. In the days that followed, a pattern emerged among people who died in their homes. They shared one specific circumstance: no access to real-time information. They did not know warming centers were open. They did not know which routes were clear. They were making life or death decisions with no information at all. A hand-crank NOAA weather radio broadcast continuously on 7 dedicated government frequencies through independent federal infrastructure. No commercial grid dependency. No cellular dependency. 60 seconds of cranking gives you 10 to 15 minutes of reception. The best units also have a small solar panel and a USB port to charge a phone. The Amish equivalent is their community network. When a storm hits, information travels farm to farm by horse and buggy. The lesson is not to ride a horse. The lesson is to have an information system that does not depend on electricity. One more thing most people forget. 131 million Americans take at least one prescription drug daily. Fewer than 3% have an emergency supply lasting beyond a week. Ask your doctor for a disaster preparedness prescription fill. Many insurance plans now authorize a 90-day emergency supply. Store medications in a waterproof, temperature stable case, not the medicine cabinet, which is one of the most humid spots in the house. And the last physical item, a waterproof document pouch with a laminated emergency card inside. Your full name, date of birth, blood type, current medications and dosages, emergency contacts, insurance numbers. When phones are dead and cloud access requires power that does not exist, physical documentation is the only documentation guaranteed to work. Now here is the one that costs nothing and outranks every item on this list. A written, practiced family plan. The Amish do not need a written emergency plan. Their entire community functions as one. Every family knows its role. Responsibilities are distributed. Mutual aid is automatic. When a barn burns down, dozens of neighbors show up with tools and lumber and raise a new one in a single day. When a farmer is injured, his crops are harvested by his neighbors. When a family faces medical bills, the community holds an auction that can raise $300,000 in one evening. No insurance company, no government agency, just people who built a system where every member knows they will never face a crisis alone. Modern households do not have that, so you have to build it deliberately. Write it down: where the water is, how to set up the toilet system, how to purify water with bleach and pool shock, where the document pouch lives, a primary meeting point and a backup if you are separated, an out-of-area contact everyone can call, because long-distance lines often work when local ones jam. Then practice it once. Walk through the toilet setup. Fill a container from the water heater. Crank the radio. The first time you do anything should not be during the actual disaster. Panic erases memory. A rehearsed routine survives panic. The people who came through the events we have talked about today were not the ones with the most expensive kits. They were the ones who had thought it through in advance and knew what to do. Let me add it up. Water storage. Up to 180 gallons accessible before you spend $1, with scalable, collapsible capacity stacked on top. Purification through multiple independent systems covering bacteria, protozoa, and viruses. No single point of failure. Boiling, filtration, bleach, pool shock, iodine. 5 layers deep. Sanitation through a complete waste management protocol using your existing bathroom. No outdoor space required. Hygiene through products that stop the primary contamination pathway before it starts. Critical support through medication continuity, electrolyte intervention, and real-time emergency communication. Ignition, redundancy, so boiling stays an option no matter what. Documentation and a practice plan that work when nothing electronic does. Total cost, roughly $300. A good chunk of that is one-time gear you buy once and never replace. The Amish have maintained this level of independence for 3 centuries, not because they reject the modern world, because they understood something most people are only now starting to learn. Dependency is not convenience, it is vulnerability. And the bill for that vulnerability comes due exactly when you can least afford to pay it. 300 years of proof, $300 to replicate it. The only question is whether you do it before the tap goes dry or after.